Welcome back. It's exactly 8:45 a.m. News and views on Salam Media, and lots coming your way. Next, we're going to be talking with the president of GIWUSA, and that, of course, is you, Mametlwe Sebei. And thank you indeed for your patience. You have been waiting for a while, but that's the nature of talk radio and TV. Thank you indeed. Morning, welcome.
Morning to viewers of Salam Media.
Okay, so we're looking at this issue. We understand that there are still 7 South African families trapped in the Gaza Strip, despite Cyril Ramaphosa's promise on the 14th of October to evacuate them. Do we know why there's been this delay, knowing that lots of other or most other foreign nationals have already been evacuated by their said governments?
Well, I think I must say to you that there are 2 factors from what I could see. One is that Israeli regime obviously is trying to pressurize more concessions on the part of the ANC government. And I think they've done this, that is refused to allow evacuation of South Africans alongside Brazil, which have taken a hard line insofar as the situation going on there, but also to pressurize, or rather to demand that Israel stop the genocide and to denounce it formally and all of that. That's the first thing. The second thing that I think the South African government has simply not done enough, in my view, to ensure that they highlight what the Israelis are trying to do. From where we are standing, this is a hostage taking by Israel, and I think South African government has a duty to conduct an open public international campaign to say it is hostage. And I do think that there are drastic measures that, from where I'm standing, can be taken, including, by the way, simply arresting all their diplomats in this country up until that time that they release all those South Africans that are trapped.
As drastic as that, do the diplomatic staff not have immunity in whichever country they're in? Are we in a situation like this? Are we able to arrest and hold those diplomats, ambassadors, etc., and all of their staff, and then probably go into negotiations to say, you release our families, let them come back home, and we'll release these people? That's pretty unprecedented, is it not?
Well, you are dealing with people that are carrying a genocide and crimes against humanity without any qualms. For me, in fact, every representative of the state and its government is a criminal. And I think they need to be treated as such. And I don't think in this situation, you have got to think about normal international diplomatic protocols. They cannot be, for me, a place for a genocidal murderers, the place for them to be treated as diplomats. That's not what they are. It's just a state terrorist organization that must just be treated as such. And I do think that what they are doing is hostage taking. We've got to call it what it is. And hostage taking with an intent to murder, with an intent to massacre South Africans. And I do think that, if negotiations are not working, if diplomatic channels are not working, you simply incarcerate them and say that we are prepared to make an exchange, for prisoner to prisoner, because those South Africans at the moment are detained without warrant, and there's no indication that they've committed any crime other than also being a people of Gaza or living in Gaza.
And the risk there is obviously because the illegal occupiers are very relentlessly bombing innocent men, women, and children and areas. There's a very high risk that our South African families could be killed as well, because there doesn't seem to be any safe haven in Palestine. Nowhere is safe. No church, no hospital, no mosque is actually safe, a safe haven for people to go and hide out in. What do you believe the repercussions would be if those families please God, it doesn't happen. But if those families or some of those family members get killed in these relentless bombings, murderous bombings by these occupiers.
Let's be clear in terms of what you are dealing with in Gaza, right? You are dealing with, a murderous, genocidal, ethnic cleansing campaign to remove and evict all people of Gaza. And if they can't force them to move, then to kill all of them. So Israel regime, for all the talk about safe havens, safe routes, is all lies, is all propaganda that is meant to present them as, some civilized force of law and order. And there's none of that. In fact, you just have to listen to Israeli military spokespersons in terms of their strategy, as well as their, far right-wing ministers who are not just on the margins of Israeli society. In fact, they are in government. They are Minister of Defense. All of that. These are fascists who have made their intention very clear that they want to make Gaza unlivable. Now, how do you make Gaza unlivable? It means you bomb every area. They've done that with the north, and they, told the world that, in fact, that's where, Hamas is located, and therefore, what they want is for people to move to the south. Now, since the pause, they have actually conducted even west aerial bombardment of the south, which was supposed to be safe haven. They've already displaced about 1.3 million Gazans from the north to the south, and they are bombing the south. And therefore, who is safe? So the intention is precisely that, to murder and to kill. And that's what I'm saying. For me, in that situation, all the international protocols simply do not apply when you are dealing with a criminal gangsters who are intent and hell-bent on killing all Gazan people. And therefore, every measure to ensure that, we protect the lives, for me, not only of South Africans, by the way, but also to pressure them to stop the genocide of all Gazans, because I do not hold a view that there's any life more important than of any other person. For me, all people of Gaza are our people. All people of Palestine are our people. They are part of the human race, and I think we owe them the duty to do everything we can. And I think for me, this arrest, by the way, should just be applied even in the event that they release those South Africans from where I'm standing, because you are dealing with mass murderers, and I think that's what they need to be caught.
Clearly, they're not, it's falling on deaf ears. You and I can speak as much as we like about it, but as far as they're concerned, we are black people. We are lesser than them. They are the white supremacists, and they believe they're God's chosen people. That is the sad reality we're sitting with. Just look how they condition their children. Little children and teenagers are believing and spitting out the same rhetoric about their superiority and being God's chosen people. But let's get back to my initial question, and that is, what do you suppose will happen if some of these South African families are murdered in one of these bombings? What do you believe, what sort of repercussions, will be meted out to the Israelis? I should imagine nothing, because they're being backed by one of the greatest superpowers, and that, of course, is America. And I'm wondering if Cyril Ramaphosa is not pandering to his Jewish friends here in South Africa by not being more active regarding this matter, and also afraid that Israel is being backed by America.
For me, I mean, the fact that there might not be repercussions is very obvious, because the ANC government, for all the posturing, for all the rhetoric, they are committed, to preserving the relationship with Israel. In fact, you just have to look at the decision of the 29th of November, where the cabinet, being the executive wing of the government, decided that they are not going to cut all the diplomatic ties, and they gave flimsy reasons that, by the way, the ANC itself rejected. It rejected in Parliament when it decided to support the motion. by the EFF, which of course it was a last-minute decision, and let's be clear about it, it was due to a public pressure. The reality is, with the ANC, which has, for instance, its biggest donor, right, being a Zionist with who deals in arms trade across the continent, the Middle East, with an office in Tel Aviv, they're not about to do that. But I think there is much more bigger reason than that. The reason being that the ANC, when it chose in 1994 to preserve the system of capitalism in this country, by that alone, it tied itself to global capitalism, which in its monopoly phase is imperialistic, and therefore it means that they are bound by many threats to Western and Zionist cooperate interests that dominate the global markets. And it is for that reason, and that fundamental reason, that they are incapable of breaking with Zionism, that they are incapable of conducting a principled, consistent foreign policy. Because in the final analysis, what they are pursuing on foreign matters is a reflection of the very policies that they are pursuing domestically, where they've ensured that white monopoly capitalism continue to dominate the key sectors of the economy, where they failed to tamper with its wealth and its unfair distribution in the favor of elite to the exclusion of the vast majority of the black working class people who are languishing in abject poverty, catastrophic levels of unemployment, services which are simply not working, from health, education, and all of that. So it is this, this commitment to global capitalism, this commitment to monopoly capitalism and its interest in this country that bound them also on foreign matters. And it is this interest that ensure that they vacillate. At best, they give words, but in reality, they support Israeli state, and that is reflection of the ties that they maintain with it 29 years into democracy. But more than that, that they are deepening economic ties. They've allowed Zionist cooperation to take key sectors of South African economy, including clover, which GIWUSA workers and which GIWUSA organizes, where they brutalized workers, cutting their salaries by 62%, ensuring that they increase their shift from 9 hours to 12 hours, cutting their holidays, and forcing them to work during weekends, including holidays and Christmases and all of that. All of this happens under the watch of the ANC, with the support of the ANC. So this is not government which you can expect to stand for Palestinians.
Yep, I think that there's interesting times ahead for us in our upcoming election. We just need to look at the Western Cape to see how the DA is, moving the chess pieces in that part of the country. So very, very interesting to see what's going to play out in the 2024 South African elections. I still believe that, as you've indicated, the ANC has to take a very, very strong stance on this matter, but I'm not confident at all. I don't think you are either, just knowing what you've said to us right now. It does indicate that besides the Guptas, South Africa has been captured, and they've been captured by even bigger players than the Guptas. And that, of course, is the Zionist lobby. Let's leave it there till the next time. As always, you go well. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your insights. Very interesting indeed. And we will talk some more. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Always.
8:59 News and Views on Salam Media. Standing by with the bulletin of the morning is Zaid Jadwat. Please stay with us.